I am back doing some Devon chill. So last time we were working on discovery. I am still working on discovering mysterious sites. Fixing up the bugs. Close the door so I don't interrupt people. It is a chilly day in Tokyo. Something I thought would never occur since it was so bloody hot this summer. Since I am also fixing kind of relatable things, I am also fixing the corn trader, sometimes very annoyingly bugging out and just kind of giving up when he's trying to buy corn if the corn was too far away from the coast. So what I've done is I made a generic trader. This is not it. This is the generic trader. This is the generic trader who just buys a thing and sells a thing. Since the corn trader was essentially almost entirely the concept of a generic trader, so I just separated that because I will need this AI to be able to trade other things in the very near future. Since we're adding artifacts and relics, the AI should one day be able to buy and sell those things. In fact, this makes me think of something that a weird thing that evolved. So there are these things called resource producers, which I know this is really exciting. Look at this text. Resource producer makes stuff. Wow. Very, very obvious. He produces resources. Whoa. So that's the equivalent in Transport Tycoon, factories and farms and stuff like that. There's also collectibles, which is a relic from a bygone era. It essentially represents like treasure chests and stuff. Things where it has a set number of resources. So I did, realizing these two concepts were essentially the same thing. They're both giving resources. I did make it so collectible inherits resource producers. So, and resource producer is conveniently something that I've created. It's the singleton's mono behavior. If you've ever done Unity development or just Cody stuff before, the idea of a singleton, the idea that you have a static reference to your one thing. So singletons, mono behavior, yeah, a little stretching the term of singleton, but essentially it automatically keeps a list of these mono behaviors. Anyway, long story short is that now it's very convenient to access all the resource producers no matter where you are in the code base. That mentioning all that because this generic trader guy is going to be very useful because he can collect from, eventually he should be able to collect from the places that are discovered, aka the relics and the artifacts, but he'll also be able to buy and sell goods like the corn trader. I just realized my cute robot self is not visible. Why? On a completely random note, I have these like cheapo portable monitors since I I moved to Japan and sacrificed my awesome gigantic monitor, and I apparently burned my to-do list into my left monitor. So now, even when I'm looking at my desktop, my left monitor, I see my to-do list from Fleet Tycoon somehow. I don't think I had it on there very long. Super weird. That's gigantic Zootbot. Annoyingly, Windows Explorer, like the default thing, if you make any typo in Windows Explorer and when you type in a path, it just presumes, oh, this is a URL, open it in the browser, which is not at all what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just go to a folder without going through every single folder manually. But it's like, no, there's some typo in here, and so you must absolutely go to your browser and have it obviously fail. All right. Ta-da! Zootbot. All right. I just added this can navigate to. So this can navigate to is smart enough to check if the structure is navigatable. If it is, fantastic, don't need to do anything else. But then this is all about seeing if that structure is part of a town that has a dock and if it can get to any of the docks. Because same thing with the player, if you don't need to be in range of the actual structure, you only need to be in range of the structure or the dock. So now the AI has the same capability. Oh yeah, the AI is a filthy cheater. It does not run the exact same simulation as the player because there is no reason for them to go through the complexity of the player. The player's shifts are way more complicated with all the upgrades. AI doesn't need that. So if we can't navigate, then we just go to the next structure. So that hopefully will fix that. From my to-do list and checking things off that are done. Okay, so another random item is the Philosopher's Statue actually has a meta progression upgrade. It's the only example of it in Fleet Tycoon right now. And what it gives you is a free 100 experience at the start of each run. I don't remember where I did that. It used to be in Maine. Might still be Maine. I've kind of chopped down Maine. Yeah, he ain't there. There it is. It's among spawn players. So if you have the achievement, that's how it knows that you've found a philosopher statue before. It gives you 100 experience. The formatting of it is ain't pretty. I have to figure out why. I have too many ways to spawn resources or transfer resources from point A to point B, which makes it unfortunately extremely confusing. At some point, I need to neaten that up. So although I have all these ways to spawn these little floating resources that go to your resource counters or ships, whatever, they all ultimately end up in the same place. So method here is how was the resource given to you. This is useful for tracking, like if an upgrade gives you a resource, because at the end of every round, every 3-minute period, you're given a summary of what upgrades earned you the most money or ships. So this is how that's ultimately tracked. But this is also used for when on the resource pop-ups, it will say like in parentheses, like this upgrade gave you this money or something, which is the same way this experience pops up. And that's where the formatting is jank. So where's It's going to go through here and follow it through. Resource in transit is like super important class. It is the little floaty resources. So it's kind of it's very interesting class. It's super important, but surprisingly simple in some ways. All right, and we need to world space tax, get the roach. This is where I would think you would do it. Should have a space in parentheses. Intriguing. So it was showing up all as one line. So it was doing like 100 experience, ancient philosopher statue. And so it was not putting a new line, and it wasn't putting parentheses, but this would seem to indicate that that's what it should do. Override text is not being used, so I wonder what it was doing. So it was using a different pop-up. I think that's why. But now I switched to use this instead, and that should all be good. Hooray. All right, fixed it by just changing how it was, which pop-up to use. All right, great. Genius. All right, let's play this thing. Nope, let's not play this thing because I need to create and attach the particle system for discovery. God power. On each of these guys, we need to have a little discovery effect, which I have not created. So let's make that real fast. We're just going to copy one of the existing dusty poofs. I'm pretty sure I have many of them. Collect poof. That is close enough. In fact, collect poof itself, I think, is good enough for this. Yes, it is. Let's use that. I think they'll do it. I also, in between streams, I made the, hopefully, we will see. I made the discovery locations a little better looking, but we will see right now how it is. screws with the pixels. You're right. Efficient enough just to. Well, that is coincidental that the tutorial arrow is going over that. So you're not supposed to see. It does, at least the hill looks a little more natural with the ground. Let's see if the pyramids of Gaza sank into the ground. And then disappeared. Alright, so clearly it went the wrong direction. Let's go check under the world. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? The what? Where did he go? So, okay, well, that's... Okay, so there's a few issues here. So I changed how it chooses which one. I made a boob. I deleted. I removed the script instead of removing the game object. Fine, easy to fix. So it doesn't know that it's a discoverable point. And they seem to... What? Why are you at the edge of the world? Okay, so they're supposed to essentially slowly move up like that. But clearly I accidentally reset the X and Z position, not just changing the Y. So, general goofiness. All right. Let's investigate. Okay, with the spawner, it was using game objects before to keep track of the discovery points. Now it's using discovery points, which means when I did this, it's just destroying the script. That is easy to fix. Now, as for the actual discovery point, the rising of the landmark, okay, well, this explains why it didn't sync initially. Because when the discover point is enabled, which is when it is fully discovered, it is supposed to sink it under the ground. Back. We're going to make it sink a little extra because with hills, we don't want the, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, we may want to have a little extra underground in case of hills on uneven terrain. All right, so that should make it so it immediately hides. Now we have to figure out why it was not lined up. So I'm doing this super simply, like I just keep track of when the discovery point spawns, it is in its discovered position, fully revealed position. So I just remember that upon enable. That's why. Okay, so anyway, I'll finish my explanation. Then this is the undiscovered position, meaning after I sink it into the ground before the player sees it. The reason why the position was wrong going to the origin of the world is because these were not being set, because this was not being enabled, because I accidentally destroyed this discovery point script. I think that was what's happening. In other words, no code changes. We just hit play. All right, God power, you and me, bro. The village elder claims you have a gift of understanding fish. Your secret? You just stand really still near water. The rival claims you can actually speak fish. The elder keeps winking at you. Like you share some common secrets. There you go. Oh. it put the name of the class there too. Let's fix that while I remember it. That will fix it in the future. All right. Hey, Mr. Fortitude, what are you doing? What you doing, dude? You're just sitting there doing nothing? Thinks that's what you're doing. I think I know why too. What do you think you're doing? You are a corn trader. Oh, look at that. The buggy AI ship is acting buggy. Who would have thunk? Why? What you doing? I know I just remembered I forgot to do something, but I don't think that would. The fact he's actually at the dock makes me think that he should be a happy camper. So I'm using this can navigate to consistently and figure out where the ship should go. So essentially, with this old logic, it was trying to go straight to the actual structure it's trying to buy from. In this case, it's trying to buy directly from the corn farm. But frequently, structures are too far from the water, and the ship can't quote unquote reach it. So this can navigate to is smarter in that it will also do what the player can do, which is it can buy and it can trade through the dock essentially. So this is really saying go to the yeah, I need the actual structure. It's saying go to the structure or its dock. I am realizing that target represents, it's a very generic target, is that, so an AI ship, what is a target? An AI ship needs to be able to target all sorts of things that are maybe structures, may not be structures. So like a school of fish isn't a structure, obviously, but the cornfield is. And they need to be able to navigate to either one. So I have this generic just S target that can be used for any situation. But the can navigate to, as you see here, is only for structures. So I'm going to make a smarter one that just builds on the other. So it's going to be can navigate to a game object. And if we're going to check if it is a structure or has a structure, then we'll use the structure one. I'm going to make an excuse for my poor typing, besides, you know, the social paranoia of you guys watching me type. When the game is running, typing is like weirdly kind of slightly delayed. So right now the game's running in the background, so sometimes the weird timing screws up my fingers. All right, so if it is got a structure, then we're going to return can navigate to the structure. And yes, thank you, AI assistance. Otherwise, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. Just try to navigate to the game object. And we can just return result. That is success. Okay. Probably gonna have to restart the game because this is a lot of changes. Say okay. By the way, this can't navigate to, it is cached. So as long as I'm feeding the same position each time, it's not recalculating. Can I get here? Can I get here? Can I get here? All right, every frame. All right, yes. So I'm using something called, I can't remember what it's called, FSR. FSR, what is it called? Fast Script Reload. It is free on the Unity Asset Store, and it attempts to reload code changes. Depending on how complicated your project is, the less likely it's going to succeed. You also have to make some changes you may not want to make to your code, such as you can't use internal. Sometimes it gets confused with statics. Yeah, so like here it's saying attribute type does not contain definition of cargo capacity. Like it does, it's just confused because it's trying to mishmash the existing code that was compiled when you started the game with newly compiled code from your changes while the game is running. So it's pretty cool what FSR, Fast Script Reload, is doing. It's very intriguing if you know anything about .NET, C#, reloading assemblies and stuff. It is very fascinating, very cool what they're able to do. Unfortunately, I was not using FSR the entire time, and so I made various architectural decisions that kind of make it not work very well. All right, I think I fixed the boat thing. We still have to check the discovery thing, right? You all need to be my short-term memory because I have the memory of a goldfish. So remind me, what am I testing now? My dementia is kicking in early. To go that way, by the way, so it's jank because it's not going with about that. But it's jank also because it is apparently one set of vertices, like one if flag is not connected to the wind of minor detail. A pair of philosopher's stones. So this is a good example of, so a player would click on it, it's like, oh goody, I can collect the free experience, and their ship can go over there, and it's like, can't quite make it. A lot of players don't realize it's range. So I've been putting with pop-up texts that say it out of range, but clearly this is not pop-up. Investigate that. So, interestingly, I did put the code there, but clearly it ain't working. I'm wondering if there is a bit of fudge going on here. So the position, this seems to indicate that it thinks it's in range. So therefore it's not showing the out of range pop-up. Yet this clearly thinks it is in range. So, or sorry, it's not in range. So these are disagreeing, which means to me, see, the navigation result may not. So this is doing the same thing actually as our AI ships. It is finding a navigatable position to the Philosopher's Stone. Should use this. That shouldn't break it though. I don't think that would change the situation. Anyway, what I was meaning is that I think the predicted navigatable position is not actually aligning with its real navigated position. So essentially, this is, to my knowledge, a good estimate of whether or not where's the closest point is to a target. But it's not 100% correct, which means that there is a chance that this would say, this is navigatable, and it will even try to move the ship to that point as close as possible. But then it can't quite get there, and so this is going to say that, oh, well, it's in range, but then this will never say it's actually in range. That is my theory. Now, unfortunately, I can just undo it. Okay. Oh, I already accidentally made, unfortunately, changes in it. I'm worried that the fast script reload's not gonna compile, and I'm gonna lose my situation here. I want to turn on the breakpoint so I can prove my theory, but I can't without saving the script, which will then potentially corrupt my ability to debug. I realize that is very confusing. So with that fast script reload, so there's like a version of your code when you start the game, and then fast script reload will detect anytime you change your code, aka what I just did. I made a change to this code. Even if I undid it, unfortunately, I still need to save it in order to enter debug mode. So even though the code was essentially the same, I still had to save it, which means fast script reload is going to detect that change and recompile it. And recompiling is going to mean that there's two versions technically of collect order out there, which means I may not be debugging the same version. Yeah, confusing, huh? See, I tried to reload that class, so I can't guarantee if my breakpoints are gonna hit. A breakpoint hit. So the weird thing is I'm probably right now actually debugging the new version, but right now the new and the old version is the same, so it actually will line up all right. But if I had made heavy changes in this code, there's a possibility that it would say like, oh, you're on this line, but it's actually some on that line in the old version of the code, and it gets super confusing. In other words, you can't really debug it if you get two different versions. Anyway, let's go see what this says. So it says this is a range of 22.06. That's after squaring. All right, so this definitely thinks it's in range. But then this is gonna say, this is 26, yes. So it's, that is the situation where it predicts that it can get there, but it actually can't quite. And I realize that this range number seems significantly different That is not the case. This is squared. Squared, so it's the value times itself. So a difference of 22 versus 26 that looks significant, it's actually probably very tiny, but the situation is the same. The point is that it's bigger than, it's out of range. Why do we square things? We square things because it's actually faster to compute. So distance formula, if you remember from elementary school, middle school, whatever, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You remember you do this square root solving for c. So the square root on a computer is actually super duper slow. Nowadays we have super fast computers, blah, 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 but it was actually a very significant issue way back in the day, like in the original Doom, the first person shooter, they actually, Carmack invented his own fake faster square root because it was a significant issue. So that the fear of square roots lives on, and so game developers still avoid square roots this day. Granted, in especially a game like this, I'm not calculating bazillions of square roots per second like John Carmack was or anything, so I probably don't need to be that paranoid about it, but it's a good habit to be in because it's not that much harder to just work in terms of squares. And you guys thought that math would never apply in your adult life. Well, it does. Little things like that. All right, so what I'm going to do about this? So what I could do is, it gets ugly, but it would work, is I could add another situation here, essentially checking if the ship is stopped, but its velocity is 0. Because that would imply that so velocity 0. I think I missaid what I was thinking because I'm trying to talk and visualize what I want to do here. If it is out of range and it has velocity, if the AI navigation has velocity of 0, like that, something like that. Nope, I totally did not mean to hit that. All right. Actually, I can stop again. There's no reason to have this running while I am doing this. This is going to be too big of a code change for it to blend in. All right, so we need the distance of the ship to the target. So we're going to check if the current range squared. Always a good idea to make your variable names very precise. Makes it easier for you and your team to know what's going on. So if the current range squared is greater than range times range, and I may not have it exposed. The concept of current desired velocity. So I'm using Unity's built-in pathfinding system, so I'm probably going to switch that out. It's just, I was underestimating the pathing necessary in this game, so I was like, no, this game is simple. I'm just going to use Unity's pathfinding system. I don't need the dragon. I usually use Aaron A-Star's pathfinding project. It's very good, a bit more complicated, and this time I use Unity's, and I kind of regret it because I end up having more pathing issues than I expected. I think my puppy wants to come in. Hi, puppy. Cheetah. You want to say hi to people? They can hear you. My wife does not want to say hi. She's like, no. All right, so all that is to say that you may need to reveal the more information about the state of Unity's pathfinding agent. They call them agents, special agents. I suppose it is time to eat, because my wife has an appointment. So I'm going to shut this off for now. I know it's unfortunate timing, because I didn't stream too long today. Where's my little timer? Do I have a timer? It's been about an hour. Okay, that's fair enough. I don't feel bad then. Though I will continue working after dinner. And I'll spin up the stream. I need to collect clips of the game anyway, and streaming does both. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to me talk through what I'm thinking about. All right. Ciao, y'all. I'll be back 30 minutes, maybe. We'll see. 30 minutes out.